Hey everyone, how's it going? We're talking about my kid having COVID. Um, Now done with COVID, but we were in Chicago. Um, Day two of our 4 day visit, we found out that she had COVID, and that made us cancel, of course, the college tour. And
Mm.
that's how I did my 15-hour drive from Chicago and Boston because I couldn't put my kid on the plane when they have COVID.
No,
So yeah, yeah. So that was a kind of a
it's a rough one.
pain in my butt.
But she's better now, I take it.
She is all fine. She is all fine.
Good.
Doing the working a lot and doing all kinds of fun-filled activities at school and SAT prep and doing her AP courses. This is me kind of bragging about my kid, by the way. That's what I'm doing right now. You know.
Mm.
So
Yep,
yeah,
there's the cup. There's the magic cup.
there's the magic up. What's up, D?
Yes, my hooves are wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I wasn't able to do the show yesterday because I had a lot of bad sleep. I only had a little bit of good sleep, and I had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bad sleep. So I was up at 2:30. I didn't get back to sleep until hours later, and then I woke up at 2 minutes before 9, and I knew when I was up at 2:30 in the morning that I wouldn't be functional because, of course, I have a worker. There's a worker, a coworker of mine who's who can't come into work right now because he has COVID. So now
Mm.
the rest of us have a lot more work basically on our
Right.
shoulders. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, you have my sympathy. I have two sleep disorders which are
Mm,
resistant to treatment. So when you start losing like 4 hours of sleep or something like that,
yeah.
that's a big freaking deal.
It really is, and the scary thing about it is that my sleep patterns have gotten a lot more stable since I stopped just doing overnight shifts, but they're still effed up. You know,
Sure.
if I don't follow my regimen at nighttime, then I could easily be up at 2:30 in the morning. And when I'm up at 2:30 in the morning, I am bright. I am
Mm.
like wide awake. And
Mm.
so, yeah. And I knew, and because my job requires a lot of driving, I don't want to be
Uh,
driving, half asleep. Basically, that seems to be a bad idea. What's up, Dave?
yes.
Canada Dave.
Mm. Hello, Dave.
Yeah.
Just thinking about COVID and all of that. I wonder if there's any conventional wisdom yet about what COVID is, or if you can test it or treat it, or
Well, I think, you know, like we were talking about the Ukrainian situation, there's, in these crisis situations, there's like this fog of war,
Mhm.
this fog that no one knows, right? I mean, there haven't been enough. It hasn't been long enough. I'm going to say stupid words right now. It isn't long enough to do longitudinal studies on long
Mm.
COVID at this
Yeah.
point. Um, so yeah, yeah. What we do know is that there's the COVID can cause brain inflammation.
Mm.
That can. We covered this, I think, in one of the old shows, old episodes, and that it's when people have brain fog from COVID, it's similar to chemotherapy, like chemotherapy fog. Like some people have
Oh
chemo
my
head.
God.
Yeah, there's a similarity to that. So yeah,
And something that surprised me, you know how it's in the news today that Russia has cut off gas to
yeah,
Poland and Bulgaria.
yeah,
And I was thinking about this, and it's usually the concept is that the threat is greater than the execution.
mm,
So, what are we going to do if they cut off the gas? And they're threatening to cut off the gas. And now, what they've created by actually cutting off gas to NATO members is that NATO collectively will say, okay, what do we do about getting gas to Europe?
yeah,
How do we supply? And uh, I don't know if a suggestion is going to come about tomorrow, but there are ways.
yeah.
And
Well,
suddenly, Russia will not have. a fossil fuel sword of Damocles to hang over the head of Europe.
Well, I think I think you're spot on with that. Is that the party's over basically in terms
Mm,
of I mean, you would think so in terms of
mm,
such a heavy addiction to Russian fossil fuels. Um, Winston Churchill came up with had a quote, and he wasn't a perfect man, but he said that basically one of Britain's oil policy is that
mhm.
they need multiple sources so that they are not addicted to any one source. And that seems to be pretty smart policy overall. And you
Okay.
would have thought that such common sense attitude would have been present with like in the German, government.
Mm.
But the nature of the dark side is that it is seductive, and so you could see how some German politicians would have been like, "Well, we're getting such a good deal from Russia. Why do we need to worry about anything else?"
Yes. And also, infrastructure is so hideously expensive.
Mhm.
So once you've created um, a system, a pipeline,
Yeah.
are you going to uh, create multiple port facilities and have liquid natural gas arriving via tanker?
Well,
It's less likely.
doing the smart thing is inexpensive in the long term, but in the short term, it can be quite expensive.
Mm,
But look, everyone who's watching this channel right now, who's watching this conversation, knows this, right? Is that the hard thing is typically hard in the short term, but it pays off dividends in the long term, and that flies in the face of a 2-year or a 4-year or a 6-year election cycle.
mm.
Politicians just need to get a quick hit to get reelected again. And a lot of the times they put their own constituents, their interests, they just put them on the side so that they can just get reelected.
There's a weird thing. Somebody in Canada charted government spending
Mm-hmm.
uh, next to election years,
Yep.
and government spending seemed to go up rather sharply in election years.
Yep.
And it said, hey, this is your government in action. And it was, unfortunately, I find that while I want to maintain some optimism, um, thinking of, well, what are the most cynical reasons someone would do this?
Mm.
Is you often spot on.
Yeah.
And it's just really sad.
Oh yeah.
Um, I wish it wasn't the case, you know?
I'm not going to know. I don't understand where that came from, but long eyebrows are a sign of great wisdom. Low testosterone is bad for the very interesting, Dr.
Mm.
Mordecai. I trust your assertions because you are a doctor after all. Right?
Yes, not just a doctor, but an internet doctor.
Yes, an internet doctor, which is the highest of all doctors.
Hey, you're taking a sip out of your cup. That is a rare and
Well, I can do it in the after party or for the open
okay.
room because it's a lot less. 15 minutes. It's a tight 15 minutes for the first.
It's sort of like you and your cup in the morning show are a bit like those old movies where people smoked out of these pen cigarette holders, and
Right.
they
Though that was
sort of waved them around for conversation, really.
right. Well, I mean, yes, and if anyone has been smoking, that it was fun. I mean, it was
Mm.
killing it, but it was fun smoking, moving the cigarette around or the cigar around, and it was just a lot of fun. But now, thankfully, we have phones and we can play with our phones as against the cigarettes and cigars.
Yes, and now with phones, we don't even have to talk to people, which is counterintuitive. But now
Yes,
we
yeah,
can just stare at screens.
right.
It's awesome. Actually, I don't do that. I went to a friend's a few months ago, and everyone was either at a laptop or on their
Mm.
phone,
Oh
and I was
yeah,
sort of left wondering what to do with myself.
I had I know. All right, how do I make this sound appropriate? I have dated people that I had to say, well, I didn't have to say, but it's like, they're just, younger. And it's
Mm,
like, hey, afterwards, can you
mhm.
not do the thing with the thing while you're hanging out with my people. It just,
Mm.
yeah. It,
Yes, it's sending this that some random tweet is more important than paying attention to the people who went to the trouble to actually physically be there.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But that's the grumpy old man segment of the
Speaks,
show. I think we've
speaks
got
to
it.
the clouds. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes. By the way,
So I was,
Canada is all a Twitter about its Jeopardy champ. There's
oh,
some Mateo Roach is Canadian,
yeah.
and she said that the only way it was this windfall that makes it possible for her to buy a house. Otherwise, it would be completely unrealistic.
Well, she is unique and quirky. She is. I've watched, I think, most of the episodes that she's been on so far,
Hmm.
and she's a great champion. Don't get me wrong, but she is. She does a lot with her hands. She's
Oh, okay.
very dramatic with her
A hand
hands.
talker.
She does a lot of hand talking, and some people would think that that could be irritating at times when she's you know being like that with her hands. She does this a lot.
Mm.
I'm being a little hyperbolic, but there is a lot
Yes.
of hand stuff going on, which
Hmm.
which some people could consider somewhat irritating.
Oh,
So,
really? I've never found hand talking to be irritating, but fair enough. But I haven't actually watched her. I saw an
oh,
interview with her, but that was
oh,
it.
oh,
Um,
she didn't do any hand talking during the interview?
no, no, but of course, so
Mhm.
much television is sort of sternum up, so you'd never see their hands, even if they're flying above the screen,
Well, I
which
have to
is
tell
always
you.
a problem. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it's always a problem for actors because if you're an actor on TV, almost all of it is, for example, the shot we have of you right now.
Yeah.
And if your inclination was to play a character who is nervous,
Hmm.
you'd have to show it without
Yeah.
changing your footing, without moving your hands, shifting your weight. You've got to do it all from the neck up. And to me, that looks very difficult.
Yeah, I can see that. That's why I think people on YouTube or who do the neck who do the chest up stuff, they must work on their funny faces or on their faces because I work on my funny faces. I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm,
You know, I have my own, suitcase full of funny faces that I like to use,
yes. Hmm.
and and so
Are
I
you
think
using
that
one of them right now?
this is just my own sad face.
Okay. All right.
That's all this is.
The land of Oz is a very funny place where everybody wears a funny, funny face.
I like that. I like that. Is that
You
from there?
remember that? You remember the cartoon, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz?
That was a long time ago. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yes.
I have been watching old Star Blazer episodes from on
I
YouTube.
don't even know that one, Star Blazer.
It's anime from like I think from the 70s, early 80s, and I was watching a documentary on Battle of the Planets, which was another old anime
Hmm.
from like 1977 or so. Just because that was the suggestion on YouTube, and I'm like, this looks interesting, and just kind of swallowed up a lot of my time.
Is that one of those shows where they just allow it to be on YouTube and you can watch all the episodes you want?
Not, you have to kind of be careful. You have to be careful about, hey, how's your cough doing, dude? Did you ever get a COVID test, or are you just?
I think I will get one today. They said the drugstore said no, but try us tomorrow or something like
Oh, really?
that.
Huh.
Hmm. I don't think it's COVID at all, but I should get
Yeah.
checked.
Well, it's interesting. I was listening to NPR, National Public Radio, and I heard that the flu, the amount of people who are getting the flu, at least down here,
Hmm.
is quite has, I wouldn't say blown up, but it has had a significant increase the amount of people having the flu. Basically, because of the fact that everyone has their flu masks. Yeah, I mean, everyone has the masks off at this point. Clockwork Rex. Long time no see, Clockwork Rex.
Yeah, I've been busy. You watch Star Blazer too?
Dude, I love Star Blazers. I grew up on that.
I used to get up like early on Saturday mornings and watch that. I'd watch Ultraman and then I'd watch Star Blazers.
Ultraman, Star Blazers. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I love that show. And yeah. I was actually my girlfriend. The girlfriend made the mistake about asking me what I was watching on YouTube, and then I had to like go into this whole thing about gamelons and radiation bombs and all that stuff about season 1 of Star Blazers. I didn't even get into the Comet Empire either, season 2 stuff. So before she shut me down, she's like,
She's like, I'm done. Yeah.
you ask someone with an autistic fixation on the thing that they're fixating about, and it can just go for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Star Blazers. So
I'm gonna make a confession that I had a prepubescent thing
Right.
for who was Nova. That's it. The female.
Nova. Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They drew
I
her
had a crush.
They drew her with exceptionally large breasts. I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that kind of did it for 12-year-old Andy. Still might do it for 53-year-old Andy, to tell you the truth. I don't want to make this weird. Yeah.
Oh,
Don't make it weird.
Driving the conversation back to COVID, I know a hilarious story about in the 1800s of a British eccentric who always wanted his own railway car. He didn't want to share with 4 or 5 other people, and he came up with an absolutely brilliant way to make sure he was alone. And he would, every 5 minutes, check his temperature with the thermometer anally.
Oh,
Anally. Is that a real story?
It is. It's from a wonderful book called Brewer's History of Villains, Rogues, and Eccentrics. It's enormous. It's several hundred pages, and you'll laugh hysterically throughout.
Wow.
It's amazing.
So Wesley Curry II says left China last week. I don't know if anyone's been following what's going on in China, but there's been a lot of it isn't on par with what Milan was doing in the early days of the Black Death, because what Milan did, the city of Milan, they would brick people up in their homes. And not only would they brick up people who had reportedly had the plague, but they would brick up the homes adjacent to them too.
wow.
And so, yeah, if you've been watching the news about, because basically in Shanghai, they've been basically putting up fences to keep people in their homes and quarantining them, and because China has a no COVID policy, and it's been pretty crazy.
And people are hungry and wanting to leave their homes to get some food.
Yeah. Go figure that hungry and desperate people will do hungry and desperate things, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Way to go, China.
Yeah.
By the way, has anybody been watching a bit of the? I know it's terribly silly and a waste of time, but watching any footage from the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial?
Dude, I have to tell you,
A bit. Yeah, not a whole lot.
I heard
I was
something
thinking. Sorry, go ahead.
So, are you on top of this? Can I ask you questions and you can answer them, Big Z?
I can try.
Okay. So, what's going on with the pooping on the bed thing?
Well, that was presented, and there was much hilarity that these enormous turds were blamed on teacup Yorkies.
Yes.
The turd would have outweighed the Yorkie.
So, from what I understand, Johnny Depp was in bed with his then girlfriend, and he woke up and there was like giant turds, or just regular human-sized turds.
No, that's not what happened. An assistant went into the bedroom, and there were turds on the bed, and he told Depp about it, and they took pictures. And now the turds are not that attractive, but they work good as models. They keep their position. They don't make demands. They're just there. They're in the moment. But my thinking is about the whole thing is that Johnny Depp, even though he knows full well that he has to prove a negative, that something didn't happen, he's hoping that at the end of this, he will have proven it for the public at large and enough for film companies, studios to hire him, that it will be accepted that this was all bullshit. Will the jury accept it? I think I don't know. I would be surprised if they did. Like, yes, we're quite convinced that this didn't happen.
So Z, is this a civil trial or a criminal trial?
No, it's civil. It's a civil case.
So
There's no jail time involved, just money.
Yeah.
No.
The reason why I'm asking is for the burden of proof, because as most of us know, having been deluded, not deluded, but having all this crime and legal proceedings on the media, is that the bar for determining guilt is much lower in a civil trial. So
Yes, an interesting thing, I heard an explanation about that, is that normally in a civil trial, you have the preponderance of the evidence.
Yeah.
And in a criminal trial, you would have beyond a reasonable doubt. But apparently, in this particular kind of trial, the range is somewhere in between. So it's not the minimum. Part of the problem is Johnny Depp has admitted to doing things like headbutting Amber Heard at one point, which is insane. So I think his trial, in terms of winning it, is over. But can he win it with the movie studios, which I think this is what it's all about? Pardon me?
I mean, I was just hearing about some of, I mean, I've been exposed to some of the Johnny Depp stuff, and I have to tell you, his toxic relationships this particular toxic relationship he was in with Amber, make my toxic relationships look pretty pale in comparison. I've always bailed, everyone. I've always bailed before things got too scary. Even. Yeah, I mean, the scariest thing that I've had in one of my relationships was that I told the other person, it's like, I'm just going to call the police, and she just said, well, who do you think they're going to believe? And it's like, all right, this relationship is going to be over really fast.
Yes, time to vamoose.
Yeah, this is the time to go. But Clockwork Rex, we'll go back to you, man. Something cheery or happy. What have you been up to, brother?
I've been working. Working the farms. It's windy and cold today, so we're not going to do anything. We got all our stuff done Monday.
No.
Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, today is Wednesday. Yeah. Okay.
Every once in a while, I see you streaming. Do you stream on a regular basis on your channel?
No, not on a regular basis. I streamed once last month.
Okay.
And
all right.
I was thinking about streaming sometime this week, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So Dave.
But we had a fence go down and a bunch of cows get out.
Oh no!
And there was a calf in the road that almost got hit. So boss man went around and gathered the cows up and put them back in, and I rode my little tractor around and checked all the fence lines, and I had to fix a couple of places.
You're
but
not
other
riding
than
a
that,
horse? You're not riding a horse?
I'm not riding a horse. Horses don't like me. Horses try to bite me. Yeah.
Oh no, that's bad.
Zebra would try to bite me. Yeah.
Well,
Zebras try to bite everybody.
And they try to
well, that's fair.
Violent creatures, zebras. No offense, zebra. Big zebra.
Although I'm a delight. But that's just
you are a delight, but there's quite a bit of research or data that shows that you got to keep away from them zebras. They can be dangerous creatures.
Yes, they can. Even to lions. If you're being chased by a lion, a zebra will suddenly plant its front hooves firmly in the dirt and back kick, and they might die. But sometimes they'll break a lion's jaw, or occasionally even a neck, and the lion will just drop dead immediately.
Well, that's how a lot. I mean, zebras kill more people in Africa. This is the data that I recall. The fact that zebras kill more people in Africa than lions. Just by kicking.
Well, I tried to look that up and couldn't find it.
Okay.
You know.
Well, that's
Oh,
Well, I
coffee.
read somewhere at some time that if a zebra bites you, it will not let go until you are dead.
oh wow.
Ah,
I've heard
well,
that. I read that somewhere.
that sounds very nasty. Or
I
until
thought
the
so too.
zebra is hands full of human flesh. Yeah.
Till it's like ate enough of your arm and leg that you're like, yeah, okay.
Mm,
But then
mm.
you're bleeding to death at that point. So
See, so this is the problem with trying to find out how many people died by zebra.
Hmm.
Is that there's something called the zebra murders, and
I
that just
think
messes up the entire
yeah.
the quick Google search.
Mm. Well, yeah. I to be honest with you, I tried to research this, and my Google foo might have been misaligned, but I couldn't find the results that I wanted. Just got a lot of crap.
Well, you can definitely find a lot about the zebra murders, which were racially motivated murders by serial killers in San Francisco during the 70s. How weird is that, huh?
Oh well, as long as no zebras were harmed,
No,
um,
no,
I think
no,
we're
no
okay.
full way. Yeah, exactly.
Zebras, by the way, are odd-toed ungulates, and they only have the one toe on each
Oh,
limb.
yep.
So,
So
yeah,
there's Simply Secular Dave says you have to check out the survival rates of encounters with creatures. Hippos are rare but devastating.
oh, I watched a video where a hippo chased this dude down and
oh,
was gonna chew him up. Yeah.
Hmm.
they'll even chase after boats, which I don't understand because they're not actually very good swimmers. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, Hippos tend to walk along the bottom, but this hippo was angry and it was chasing after a boat, and it
Hmm.
was
They are territorial creatures.
yes. Which is funny because aside from like an elephant will knock if a hippo gets angry, elephants have been known to just knock them over, just bang,
Um,
you're
yeah.
down. Not necessarily kill them, but um, who's going to intrude on the territory of a hippo? Who's going to
Yeah,
dare?
exactly.
I feel
But
that
Hang on,
any
give me a second.
mm,
okay. I feel that any conversation about hippos, I have to warn people that they do mark their territory with poo.
yes,
I saw it
there's some
firsthand.
famous YouTube videos of that. It's
Yeah.
disturbing.
If you see it firsthand, it's like, wow, how about that? That's pretty incredible.
And their little tails go like helicopters.
Also,
Oh,
what's the house?
Simply Secular Dave, the House Hippo commercial on YouTube. That's a Canadian commercial
Oh, is that?
designed to train the young about truth in advertising.
Oh,
And House Hippos sort of live in closets. Their diet consists of peanut butter and crackers, and they're little things that sort of wander around cutely. But it
so
looks real.
what's this a commercial for again?
It's from a Canadian Advertising Association reminding people that basically not everything you see on TV is true.
Oh, okay. Well, that's useful.
Sometimes these associations have a marketing budget
Mhm.
and they feel obligated, one, to make it entertaining, and two, sort of inoculate people against their own sins.
Yep.
So, yes, we're going to lie to you. We're advertisers, but don't believe everything we do.
Right. Right. I can see that.
Hmm.
I will Google that up. I am curious.
It is a really well done commercial. Um, they sort of like make nests out of dryer lint, that sort of thing.
They do what? I don't think
They
I
make
saw that.
nests in your closet out of things like dryer lint.
Oh, dude, it's not animated. It's like live. It's like a live
Yes,
action.
yes. Why don't you play it on this lovely show you have?
Well, we're about to close out the show, actually,
Well,
but
then let's not.
I I have it on my other screen right now, and here it is. Simply Secular Dave goes, the house hippo is the subject of Canadian television public service announcement produced by Concerned Children's Advertisers in May 1999.
Hmm.
reintroduced in 2019. And here's the link for all of you crazy kids at home. Yeah, dude, I'm looking at it right now. It is pretty trippy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yes, and
There is a very cat-like. There is a biscuit-like looking cat in the video too. My cat Biscuit.
oh, very good, very good.
And
How
it's-
is Biscuit?
Oh, Biscuit's good. She wanted to come in, but it's the last few minutes of the show, and so I just wasn't going to get up.
Right.
On that note, I'm going to have to bust everyone. Long day for Andy, like I said, at work because one of my coworkers has COVID, and so we're all picking up the slack, basically.
Very good.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, fair
Yep.
enough.
Yep.
Yeah, the dude showed up to mow my yard, and so yeah, if you hear buzz in the background,
I hear
that's
that,
what it
dude. I
is.
hear that. Yeah. Nothing major, nothing major.
Yes.
All right, everyone, take care. Shamala Hamla, doing the same crazy thing tomorrow.
Shamala. Bye.
All right, I'll be around if I can.